Okay guys, so today we're going to be looking at the GetX library. I made a simple calculator app using the GetX and I'll show you how I did that. So this is our project here on the Android Studio, and I'm going to start explaining the steps I took in making it. So I'm going to type here GetX Flutter, and if you type GetX Flutter, you see the first link here. That is the link you would click on, and so it brings you to this GetX Flutter page. So you can see the current version here is version 4.1. So I'm gonna copy this, and after copying it, I'm going to go back to my Android Studio, and I go to the pop spec file, and I'm putting it in the dependency section. This is necessary in order to enable GetX for your project. You have to put your GetX in the dependency section. So I've done that, and I'm going to do the Flutter pop gate. So click on the pop gate, and it actually, what it does here is that it would install the package in your project. So you can see it is installing and it's done. Going back, I'm gonna copy this import statement here, and going back to the main.dat file, I'm going to paste it up here. So I'm pasting it here. Okay, I'm gonna get this off. I'm gonna get rid of this code. I don't need this now, so I was gonna get rid of that. So inside here, I'm gonna type the get material app. This by default comes with the GetX library. It's a material app, just like the normal material app, Then we declare the home. So I'm going to create a class here, and I'm calling this class home class. This home class is going to extend I'm going to extend a stateless widget. With GetX, you don't really need to use much of a stateful widget. You see, GetX even works with stateless widget. It helps you to update your widget. So I've created a class called the home class, and right here I'm going to return a container. Okay, so I return the container here, and in the get material app, I put the home class there. So inside the container here, we're going to use a scaffold. I'm gonna wrap it up with a scaffold. So the scaffold here is necessary, and I'm going to declare a body. So that is it. So my device is not showing here. I want to make my device come up. I go to the project structure, and you see there is no SDK here. I'm going to do the Android SDK. I'm going to apply and click OK. So that brings up my device. So my device is not showing. Okay, so I'm deleting this. I don't need this here. I'm deleting this file. Okay, so this is the code we have, and I'm going to run this code on my device. You're gonna see how it looks like. It's just not gonna be a blank screen at the end of it. You see, going to settings. I'm going to resolution. I'm gonna make it original here. Click OK. Scroll down and click save. Okay, so the Android Studio is running. It's actually building the APK, so I think we're gonna wait a while for this to build. Okay, so I'm running the app now, and the app is coming up. So the app is up, and you just see a blank screen. There's nothing much on the screen right now. But first of all, we have to remove this banner you see up here. Let me make the screen visible for you. So the screen is just actually a blank screen, nothing much on the screen, and we have to start something now. So the first thing we're going to do is to remove the banner up there. So I'm shifting the screen. Let me adjust this, right? Let me adjust it. Okay, then I'm gonna adjust this too. So it looks much more better now. So we're going to remove the banner right now, and to do that we're going to write here inside the material app, we're going to write debug checked banner, and we're going to set it to false. So doing that to false, that means that the banner is gonna go out. We're not gonna see the banner again. So we run the app, and when we run the app, you see the banner is no more there. So now the next thing to do is, in the scaffold we are going to add a background color. So the color we're gonna use will be orange. So you run the app again, and when you run the app, you would see the orange color in the scaffold. So running the app, you see the orange color in the scaffold, and that is it there. So we actually run the app, and here is the orange color. Yeah, so now we're gonna use the orange color for the scaffold, and that's where we start. Alright, so I'm creating a new screen, and this screen is this package is gonna be called the model package. We have the controller package, we have the widget package, and now we have the model package. So inside the widget package, inside the widget package, we're gonna create a dot file, and I'm calling this dot file custom text field. So the dot file inside the widget package is going to be called a custom text field, and the custom text field will extend a stateless widget. Sorry, let me not do it that way. They say, okay, I'm just gonna type the SD shortcut, So the custom text field will extend a stateless widget. So I have to import. I'm going to import the material package, and that way you see the red lines goes out. So I'm gonna copy this custom text field. I'm gonna copy it, and I will go to the main.dat file, and inside the container here we have the child. I'm supposed to put inside the container, we're gonna have a child, which will be a column, and the column is gonna have children. Okay, so now the first widget in the column will be the custom text field class we just created, because we're going to create a custom text field, and that is going to be the first widget in the column. So inside the container or column we have this. So we're going to import the class, so the custom text field, and we're going to run the app. We're going to hot reload, so that's what is happening, and still you're going to see nothing on the screen. That is because the custom text field class have not fully been implemented. So I'm going to go back to this class, the custom text field, and I'm going to design this reusable widget right now. So first of all, I'm going to give the container a child, and this child will be a text field. So we're going to have a keyboard type, So this keyboard type would be text input type. We're going to use number because we're going to be typing numbers in the calculator. We're going to be numbers, so we're going to use the keyboard type number. And we're going to give a padding right now. The padding to the content is going to be age in set. We're going to give a padding. So the padding now is going to be 8.0. Now the content is going to have a padding 8.0, and the height to give it the height, first of all, we're going to have to create a constructor here. So this constructor will have a size as a parameter. We're going to have a size, and then we're also going to have controller, text field controllers in it. I'm going to have a text editing controller. So that is the text editing controller there. So this size and this, we're gonna have the editing controller. So the height now is going to be size.height. Let me use v, size v here. You know, I don't want to use size, I want to use size v dot height, and the height for the content is going to be the 0.08, and then we're going to have a width. So we're going to use the size v dot width. So the width is going to be 0.2. Yes, it's 0.2 here. It's going to be 0.226. That's okay. Alright, so we have given the container height a width, we've given the container a padding, and now we're gonna hot reload the app. We're gonna run the app again, so you check it, you're gonna see there should be a change on the screen. So oh no, they're saying the getter height was called on a null. Okay, so that means we have to pass in these parameters when we call the app in the main.dat. So we did not pass in any parameters, so we're gonna do that now. So the size v is gonna be a media query. The media query dot of context dot dot size, and the gonna hot reload. That should take away this error. It should take away this error. Okay, so now you can see the custom text field. If you check up here, you see the line there, that is where it appears, is up there. So we have to decorate, and we also have to bring it down a little. So you see it's working now. So inside here, we're gonna have a decoration. I'm gonna be input decoration. Okay, so we have the input decoration, and we have a border, and the border here is we have the decoration, input decoration. We have the hint. So the hint here is gonna be the hint. Okay, the hint text here is gonna be 0, and let me get this out. I'm gonna run this again. Let's see if there's any change. Okay, you see the hint there is 0. You can see the 0 up there. So I'm gonna give a border. I'm gonna say outline border here. So you're gonna see the border is gonna show. You see the border around the text field. So in the main.dat, inside this column, we're gonna give it a main axis alignment. So the main axis alignment is gonna be center. How to reload this? Gonna run this again. Okay, so you see it brings it down here to the center, so it's actually nice. So what else are we gonna add here? So what I'm going to align this is I'm going to use a text align. So the text align here is going to be text align center. Yeah. So if you run the app again, you see the 0 is going to come to the middle. Okay. That is it. The 0 comes to the middle. So in the main dot here, we're going to copy and we're going to paste it again in the column. So in the column here, we're going to have like 2 custom text field. 2 custom text field here in the column. So we're going to run the app again and you're going to see the field, it's going to appear, you're going to see 2 of it down here. Okay, share out. Okay, that's it. So now I don't want it this way. I'm going to wrap them all in a row. So inside the column, I'm going to have a row. The row is going to contain the custom text field. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it here. This is out. Okay, that's nice. So now if we run the app again, you're going to see the custom text field will be arranged horizontally. That is it. So now you can see the custom text field arranged horizontally now. So in here we have the main axis alignment is going to be in the center, main axis dot center. So if you run the app again, you see it come to the center. It should move. Okay, so it's now in the center. That's nice. So we type here, we can now type the digit 2, we can type the digit 6663. Yeah, obviously you can type any digit you want in here. So back again to design this. We're going to increase the width. So we increase the width of the custom text field. Now we increased it. So I just have to increase the width a little. So doing that, you see the width increases, much more better. So next thing now is to design the hint text. So I'm gonna, this is the text style. The hint text gonna give it a color, and the color is gonna be white. You're gonna give the font weight. The font weight is gonna be bold, and if you run it again, you're gonna see it's gonna be white and bold. So the hint text now should be here. So it's white and it's bold. So you see this, if you click here, but if you type on it, it's gonna be black. So if you type on this here, it's gonna be black. You know, we don't want that. That's not what we want. So I want the text and okay, so the style, I want to make this style. I'm gonna style, you're just gonna see this now. I'm going to style the text, and so the text style here is the color here is gonna be colors, gonna say white. So if we check it here, that's white now. So if we write something on the custom text field, if you check the app, we're gonna write something right now. You see it's white. So now I need to make this better. So I'm going to come down here, give it a font weight of bold. So you see the font weight will be bold. The font weight will be bold. And if I run the app again, you would see it's bold and it's bright enough. Okay, so that is good. And now we need to go to the widget again, and we're going to create another widget. So we call this widget the R button. So we're going to call it the RBTN, which means the reusable button. So the reusable button would have, it would extend this. Let me not do this. I'm going to use the shortcut right now. You see the stateless. Okay, simple. So the reusable button RBTN. So right here, we're going to import the material app. So in the material app, we're gonna have a constructor. See, so the constructor here will be a string here, and in the string we're gonna pass the button text. That is the text that will appear on top of the button. And then we're also gonna have the size. We're gonna use this to determine the size of the button. So this dot button text, I'm also gonna have this dot size. Okay, there's a mistake somewhere. There's an error. I'm seeing the red line here, but everything seems right. I don't know where the mistake is coming from. Okay, so there, that is it. Okay, so now we have the button, and the decoration here will be a box decoration. So the color for the button is gonna be white. And we're gonna have a border radius. You see the border radius is going to be circular, and we're gonna give it 20. So that is it. So if we are, let's see. I'm gonna copy this button, and inside the column that is under the row, inside the column, we're gonna have a button that is the RBTN, the reusable button we just created. And so we're gonna pass in the button the parameters that we needed here, and the button, the text is gonna be calculate, and in apart from that, you go to the main.dat, we're gonna have the size. So the size here would be media query size out of context. All right, so we're gonna run the app again. We're running the app. We're running. All right, I'm pressing the run button. Okay, so we're running the app. We're running. Okay, so the color is white, and we just ran the app. So, but first of all, we're gonna copy this. We're gonna copy all these that we used in the reusable text field. We're gonna copy it, and we're gonna use it in the container here of the button. So I'll just change this size here to V. I'll just get this out here. All right, so now if we run the app now, we should see the container. So I just run the app and I just hot reload it, and you see the button down there. Now the button is out. So the next thing to do is to give it a child, and this child is going to be a text. So the text here will be from the parameter we pass into the button class. We're passing in the button text, so we're going to use that text and we display it on the screen. So the button text and the style is going to be a text style. Color will be black. And the font weight will be bold. Okay, so I ran the app again and the app is coming up. So I think we just have to give it a little time. So I run the app and it's coming up, so you're seeing it in the screen again. It's gonna show up soon. Okay, that's it. So now the calculate, you see the button, but first of all we also need to bring this text inside the button. We have to bring it to the center of the button because you see it's at the top left. So to do that, to bring the text to the center of the button, we're gonna wrap the text here with center widget. So with this now, the text automatically goes to the center of the container. So you see it here. The text moves to the center now. All right, so we did that. So the text automatically goes to the center of the container because we just use the center widget. So we're almost done. With the UI. So we're going to copy this button right now. I'm going to copy everything here and we're going to use it inside the main.dat. So above the row, in the column above the row, we're going to paste it here. So right now we're going to type here answer. So this text here would show the result of your calculation. So when you press the calculate button, the result will show up here. So here we have a font size of 25. So we run the app again. You see here the answer would be on top of the row. Okay, we change the color to white and we run the app again. You're gonna see it move up a little. It will change to white, not move up, it will change to white. So the color changes to white. The next thing to do is use a size box. We're gonna give size box a height of 50 here. And we're also gonna give a size box the height of 50 here. So that will give a space between the widget and the row. So we run the app again, we hot reload, and doing that you would see there'll be a margin, there'll be a space between these three widgets. Okay, this is better now. So now it's time to connect this with the GetX and the controllers and the model. So when we type a digit here, we now press calculate, the result will show up here. So this is what the GetX will help us do right now. So inside the controller and the models, in the model class, the model package, we're going to create a class. This class will be called the math model. So the math model is a class, and this class will have a string called the first number, and we'll have a string called the second number. Okay, so here we have two fields inside the class. So the first number and the second number. So that is the math model here. And we're also gonna have a create constructor. So we're gonna generate a constructor. We're gonna generate a constructor. So this constructor will take in these two fields as a parameter here. Okay, I think this is it. This is it for the math model. Now that is it for the math model. And so what we're gonna do next is create a controller. So the controllers now, we're gonna create the first one, and we're gonna call it the math model controller. We're gonna create a class, and we're gonna call that class the math model controller class. So this math model controller will extend the GetX controller now. So it's gonna extend the GetX controller. So it's showing a red line because we have to import it. So I'm going to go to the main.dat and just copy that import statement. I'm gonna copy the import statement here. So I will just copy it and I will paste it inside here, the math controller here. So I'm gonna paste it. Okay, so doing that, I'm gonna have the math controller, the math model, So we're gonna have the math model. So the math model here, and we have to make it observable, We have to make it observable. So the math model is taken in two. Initially it's gonna be 0, 0. So this will be the initial object, or the initial dat object for the math model that we're gonna have. It's gonna be 0. The first number, the second number is gonna be 0. We make it observable here. So it's gonna be observable. So we're gonna create another controller, and this controller would be called the answer controller. So the math model controller, we have the answer controller. So the answer controller here, you're going to extend the GetX controller. So this is going to extend the GetX controller, and that is it. So we also have to copy. I'm going to copy this import statement. I'm going to copy this import statement here, and I will paste it up here, so that the red line will go off. I'll paste it here. Okay, so now the answer controller, the result is going to be an integer. So we're going to have an integer variable. This answer here is going to be an integer. So we're going to have an integer variable here. I'm going to call it answer. So the answer would be, initially it's going to be 0. I'm going to make it observable. So the initial answer is 0, and it's going to be observable. Okay, so now, we're going to have an integer, the answer now. This will be the answer that we will display on the screen. So we're going to call it final answer. So this will be the answer that you would see on the text. So on the text you will see final answer. So this final answer is going to be an integer. So the final answer here is going to be an integer. So that is it. We're going to return a final answer. So first of all, we have to create a function. We're going to call it calculate. This calculate is what will actually perform the operation and will return the answer for you. So the calculate here will take in two parameters, a string called the first and the second string and the string called the second. So okay, so now the answer, the observable answer, we're going to get the value out of it. So the value, the answer is going to be equal to the sum of the first and second integer. So if you sum of the first and if you sum of the second integer, you're going to have an answer now. So the answer will return a value. So that value is what we have here, and we're going to pass the value down here. We're going to pass it to the final answer. So now whatever value you give to the answer is what the final answer will return and display on the text field here. So we are almost done here. We're almost done. So the final answer returns the answer. The answer is gotten from the calculate function. So inside the math model controller, we're gonna have the answer controller, and we're going to have the GetX. So the answer controller now is gonna have the get.put, and we're gonna put in the answer controller. So the answer controller will show an error there. So it's gonna be the answer controller here. We're gonna put inside it the answer controller. So have a number changes. So if the number should change by the time you're typing and you press the calculate button, the number changes. So if the number changes, we're gonna get the first number, we're gonna get the second number, and we're going to change. We're gonna create a math model that object with that. So I would say the math model is going to be equal to the math model here will be the math model. So in here we're going to pass in the first, and we're going to pass in the second number here. Okay, so now we have the math model. So if you press the calculate button, we're going to have a math model, and the answer controller, we're going to use the answer controller now to calculate the value for the math model. So the answer controller, if you go to calculate, takes in two strings, the first string and the second string. So this is what we're going to use. So we're going to pass in, we're going to change it though. Let's change it to a math model. So the answer controller here should take in a math model. We're going to say the math model, we're going to call the first number. We're going to say the math model, we're going to call the second number. Okay. So if you go back to the math model controller, in here, you're just going to pass in the math model dot value. So in here, we're going to pass in the math model dot value. Okay. So the math model dot value. So now that is it. So simply we just update the answer controller is being updated with the math model controller. So going back to the main.dat, in here we have a text editing controller. We're going to get editing controller 1, and we have a text editing controller. We're going to call it editing controller 2. So coming down in here, we're going to have editing controller 1. We're going to pass in here inside the custom text field, and we're also going to pass in here editing controller 2. So when you click on this button, we're going to wrap it with a gesture detector. So we're going to wrap the button here with a gesture detector. So you see the gesture detector, and on top of the button, we're going to have the print. So we're going to use this print statement to just test it, to be sure that we tap on the button. We're going to use that. So all right, so we have the text editing. Now next thing we're going to do is we run the app. So when we run the app, I clicked on the button, you see, actually indicating here that we tapped on it. So I ran the app and I saw on the console that we actually tapped on the button. So that is working right and fine. So the next thing to do is we're going to write two string values right now. And we're going to call the first value and we're going to call the second one the second value. So going down, when we tap on the button, the first value will be gotten from the first editing controller we called editing controller 1.text, and the second value will be called editing controller 2.text. So we're gonna make sure this is working. We have to let's print this out. So let's see. If we print it out, we're gonna paste it here. To paste it, you tab. So the tab here will be the first value. We paste it here, second value. Okay, so I'm gonna run the app and make sure to see this is working. We're gonna see if it's gonna print out the first value, if it's gonna print out the second value. So we're gonna write something in here. We're going to write 2, 3, and we're gonna write 5, 8. So when you click on the calculate, okay, there's something, an error here. Okay, so the error here is that text was called on a null. Okay, that means the editing controller was not initialized. So we have to go back and initialize this editing controller 1 and editing controller 2. So going back, let's see if we can write the init. Not really, isn't it? Init. Okay, now coming up. Let's write this is the build. So inside the build function here, we're going to initialize the editing controller 1. I'm also going to initialize the editing controller 2. Okay. So if we run the app now, I think that would take care of this error. You're now going to see the error again. So running the app, we're going to test that. So we initialize and we can test the app now. So you run the app and now we're going to type in something. Let's type something and see. I'm going to type in 23. And we're going to type in 20 or 58. So we press calculate. You see, it actually, this is showing a blank. There's nothing showing here. It's not showing anything. So that means the first value and the second value is empty. And there's also still an error because the first value should be 23 and the second value should be 58. So let's check why this is happening. So if you go to the custom text field down here, we forgot actually in the custom text field, we forgot to put the controller. So that is why it was showing a null value. So the controller here will be editing controller. Alright, so that should solve the error now. And you go back, you run the app, it will work. So let's run the app now. So if you run the app, And now we're gonna write something. Let's write 56, and we're gonna write here 89. You press on it, okay, now see it works. So now it's showing you the value 56 and it's showing you 89. So that means it's working now. So now what we need to do is link up with the controller. So we're gonna get rid of that. So we have to link up the first value and the second value with the controller. So to do that, we have to call the math controller. This is equal to get.put, and we pass in the controller here. And also we're going to say okay. So the math controller, now we're going to call this number changes. So the number changes, we call this function, and as it takes it to the answer controller. So the math controller, we're going to call number changes. What was that? Number changes. So number changes is going to show you the first value, and it's going to show the second value. It's okay now. So now the math controller number changes the first value, second value, and also right here we need to put an obx and return and this is it. So I'm gonna cut this out and we pasting it in here. So this is because the text value is gonna change. So whatever widget is actually gonna communicate with the controller, you have to wrap it with the obx widget, you see. So now the obx widget wraps the text. So because the text widget will be communicating with the controller. So the answer controller now get put, and in here we're gonna put the answer controller. So the answer controller, now we're going to show the answer here. So the answer will be answer controller dot and final answer. So that is it now. So if we run the app, you're gonna see it's gonna work right here. So because when you call the final answer, so we're gonna run the app. Okay, now you see initially the answer is 0. So if it's 0 now, and if you write something inside here, because this is because the initial value for the answer is 0, and if you write something inside here, let's try it. So we're gonna say 1. I'm gonna put 1 here. It's gonna calculate, and you see it's 2. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And if you type in here 12 or 122 and you say 1, so if you calculate, it's gonna be 233. So it's actually working fine. This is how to use GetX. It's very simple, and I want you to subscribe, and for more videos stay tuned. So the final answer here is what is being displayed on the text. So that is it.